Alone at a wedding, this inspiring female CEO in a wheelchair had a life-changing surprise reveal. Sarah wheeled herself into the opulent reception hall. The stark contrast between her vibrant presence and the sea of well-heeled guests made her heart race. Laughter and clinking glasses filled the air, but the joyous celebration felt suffocating. She took a deep breath, mentally preparing for the stares and questions. As the successful CEO of a burgeoning tech company, she was used to navigating a world where the whispers of doubt followed her like shadows. In a bustling wedding like this, those shadows felt heavier. As she settled in, the eclectic mix of floral arrangements and twinkling fairy lights painted a picture of perfect suburban bliss. But inside, Sarah quietly grappled with feelings of isolation. Her accomplishments, hard-fought and dearly won, were often overshadowed by preconceived notions about her disability. Yet it was also the love from her family, those who stood by her side, that grounded her through struggles against prejudice. They had always believed in her, reminding her that true success could be measured by kindness, not just accolades. Amidst toasts and cheers, Sarah caught snippets of conversations swirling around her. "Can you believe she runs a company?" someone murmured, skepticism dripping from their voice. Moments later, another added, "But how much does she really contribute?" Her heart clenched. Just when she thought she had built walls strong enough to block out the noise, doubts came crashing back in. The last straw came when her cousin, who she had admired for years, dismissed her achievements with an offhand comment about special treatment. Those words ripped into her, planting seeds of uncertainty as vulnerability washed over her like a wave. Determined not to let negativity consume her spirit, Sarah pushed back her pain and chose to focus on her passion for social change. She reflected on a local community initiative aimed at uplifting leaders dedicated to making a difference. Her heart quickened at the thought this could be the opportunity she needed to showcase her true worth. However, after an agonizing application filled with hopes, her dreams fell flat when she received the crushing news: her bid to speak at the event was rejected. The disappointment weighed heavily, and for a moment, she wondered if all her fighting had been in vain. Before she could drown in despair, an unexpected voice cut through the noise. Josh, the groom, her childhood friend, stood up to deliver a speech that ignited the room. As he recounted stories of her relentless spirit and the impact she made on their community, something shifted. Guests began to lean in, absorbing his words. But even as he praised her, Sarah felt an internal battle raging. Could she truly believe in herself the way he believed in her? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the night advanced, Sarah felt the atmosphere begin to change. Guests approached her, no longer judging but curious, eager to connect. Each conversation chipped away at her barriers, and she realized that vulnerability was as powerful as her ambition. With every shared story of struggle and triumph, she unearthed connections that rekindled her spirit. Yet, just as hope started to blossom, an old associate challenged her accomplishments, invoking systemic issues and debates about merit. His words echoed dreadfully in her mind. A fork in the road split her emotions wide open. Now she faced a choice: retreat to safety or embrace this new wave of support igniting in the room. As the music crescendoed, Sarah lingered on the precipice of transformation. Would she dare to rise above the doubts, amidst the connection and camaraderie blossoming around her, to claim her rightful place in a community longing for change? With a sparkling glass of lemonade resting in her lap, Sarah took a moment to gaze around the room, absorbing the joyful energy that seemed to pulse through every corner. The laughter felt infectious, and while she had arrived feeling isolated, a flicker of hope began to warm her heart. She could see faces brightening as Josh spoke, and amidst the flurry of smiles and cheers, her loneliness felt like a distant echo. Every word Josh spoke struck a nerve within her, shaking parts of her that she had long kept hidden. He recounted tales from their childhood, the little adventures they shared, the dreams they had conjured together. Those memories pulled at her, reminding her of a time when she had bold aspirations, untainted by doubt. As guests applauded, Sarah felt a bittersweet wave of nostalgia wash over her. Then, just as quickly, uncertainty crept back in. She caught sight of an older woman across the room, arms crossed defiantly. This was the aunt who had always believed that talent and position should align with physical ability. Sarah's pulse quickened at the thought of what her aunt might be whispering to others. Would she be dismissed again, even after Josh's heartfelt words? Taking a deep breath, Sarah made a decision. She wheeled herself toward the center of the dance floor, determined to reclaim her space. The music flowed around her, inviting movement and joy. She had danced with her friends many times, but this felt different. This wasn't just a celebration, this was a declaration. As she maneuvered into the makeshift circle forming around the floor, a few guests looked on in surprise, exchanging glances of admiration. She caught snippets of conversation, words about courage and strength flowing her way. Sarah's apprehension began to wane, and her spirits lifted. It was as though the warmth of their encouragement melted the ice that had formed around her heart. "Come on, Sarah," someone called out, their voice tinged with excitement. It broke through the remaining walls she had built around herself. A rush of exhilaration coursed through her veins, awakening desires she thought she had tucked away for good. Then the song changed, transforming from a slow melody to an upbeat tune. She couldn't help it, she wheeled herself forward, caught up in the infectious rhythm. And just like that, she started to sway. It was a small movement, but it felt monumental. The guests surrounding her clapped and cheered, their energy flooding the space. In that moment, beneath the glimmering lights and amidst the thrumming power of humanity, Sarah began to embrace the unlikeliness of it all. She wasn't defined by her wheelchair, nor her past struggles. She wasn't just a survivor, she was more than that. She was a leader, but as she reveled in this fleeting moment of joy, her eyes locked onto her aunt. To her surprise, the older woman shrugged her shoulders, feigning a casual acceptance that felt anything but genuine. Sarah's heart sank momentarily. Was she too late to earn that elusive respect? Despite the uplifting atmosphere, doubt hovered like a dark cloud, ready to rain on her parade. Just as the music slowed once again, Sarah felt a nudge within her, a sense of determination rising from the soil of new connections and hope. If she could dance here, in front of everyone, what else could she accomplish? What if she shared her story tonight? Her mind raced with possibilities. With a deep breath, she signaled for Josh to come over. As he approached, she could see the concern written across his face. "What's wrong?" he asked softly. "I think I want to say something," she replied, her voice steadying. "Are you sure? Right now?" He glanced around, assessing the crowd. "Yes. It's time." With an encouraging nod, Josh stepped back, ready to support her. Sarah's heart pounded in anticipation. And just like that, the room fell silent as she turned her chair toward the gathering crowd, ready to bare her soul and fight against doubt. What more could she share that had the power to change perceptions and perhaps even lives? But what would she say when the moment finally arrived? The bright lights cast a shimmer over the assembled guests, their faces turned toward her, expectant. Sarah's heart raced as she took in the sea of familiar and unfamiliar faces, each holding a story, a connection. She felt the warmth of their attention like a gentle embrace, but the gravity of the moment pressed down on her. "What do I say?" she murmured to herself, but as she looked into the crowd, she felt an unexpected wave of clarity washing over her. Her voice steadied, gaining strength with every heartbeat. She cleared her throat, leaned forward slightly, and began, "Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight." The crowd responded with soft murmurs of encouragement. Sarah inhaled deeply, letting the air fill her lungs like fuel. "I know I might not fit your idea of what a leader should look like, or even what a person should be. I've carried that weight for so long, feeling like I was on the outside looking in." A few faces shifted, some nodding in understanding. She could see empathy written on many of them, especially in Josh's eyes. His unwavering support ignited a spark in Sarah. "Josh reminded me of who I used to be," she continued. "Someone who wasn't afraid to chase dreams, who saw the world as full of possibilities." She paused, letting her words settle into the space. "But somewhere along the line, I let fear take the lead. I allowed my circumstances to define me. Tonight, I want to reclaim that." The applause started softly but grew into something more. It pulsed through the room, raising her spirit even higher. Each clap felt like an affirmation, a call to arms against the inner critics. I've learned that it's not about always meeting expectations, it's about exceeding the ones we set for ourselves. Her voice gained momentum, the confidence growing as she spoke. Every challenge I've faced has shaped me, but they don't define me. I'm learning every day to love the skin I'm in and to stand tall, even from a chair. She saw a glimmer of surprise from her aunt, the tight lines of worry on her face slowly softening. Sarah's heart fluttered. Was this change actually possible? Today, I am not just here to dance or to celebrate. I am here to remind every one of you that we are all more than our obstacles. We're all capable of greatness if we just let ourselves believe. The crowd's energy surged again, and Sarah felt the warmth spread through her, mingling with the hope swelling in her chest. As she finished, a deep silence filled the room, then erupted into cheers. She hadn't just shared her story, she shared a piece of her heart. But amidst this joy, something shifted within her. Did she truly believe what she had just said? The lingering doubt began to bubble again. Confronting her aunt's gaze, Sarah felt an unexplainable tug, a desire to break through the final barrier that stood between them. More importantly, I want to spark change, she added, a newfound fire igniting in her voice. If we can transform this celebration into a movement for everyone who feels overlooked, then we'll have started something incredible. The applause grew louder, the cheers echoing against the walls. Sarah felt light, as if she could float right out of her chair. But as the music began to swell again, the moment of triumph left her wondering, would her aunt finally hear her? Would she choose to embrace the idea that love and hope transcend limitations? As something shifted in the crowd, Sarah turned to find her aunt standing, her arm raised, the surprise visible on her face. It was a start, but deep down, Sarah knew there was still so much more to uncover. What would happen when the family she longed to impress finally reached for her? Would her words ripple out, expanding past the room, touching lives beyond her own? The questions lingered as Sarah descended from her moment of courage. What awaited her on the other side of this celebration? As the applause faded, Sarah's heartbeats danced in her chest, vibrant and wild. She took a moment to breathe, letting the warmth of the moment wash over her. Joy blended with a hint of apprehension. The cheers faded, but the air still buzzed with energy, excitement mingling with uncertainty. The music filled the space, an upbeat melody inviting the guests to let go, to mingle and dance. She watched as people began to pair off, laughter bubbling like champagne. Somewhere in that joyous chaos, she felt a tug-of-pull toward her aunt. With determination, she wheeled closer, the crowd shifting around her. Thoughts raced through her mind, memories of shared meals, missed opportunities, and silent moments where she longed for acceptance. Her aunt still stood with an expression caught somewhere between surprise and concern, and Sarah could see a flicker of something in her eyes. Was it hope? "Can I talk to you?" Sarah asked, her voice steady but soft. Her aunt's initial hesitation melted away, replaced by an earnest nod. "Of course, sweetheart. I'm so proud of you." Pride washed over Sarah in waves. A simple acknowledgement, yet it felt monumental. They moved to a quieter corner of the room, away from the thrumming crowd. The sound of laughter faded, and suddenly, there was just them and the moment. "Your speech, it was incredible," her aunt said, opening the conversation. "I never knew you felt like that." "I felt trapped for so long," Sarah admitted, her voice wavering slightly. "Like I didn't belong, even among family. I just wanted you to see me." Her aunt's expression shifted, eyes softening as she reached for Sarah's hand. "I'm sorry if I ever made you feel that way. It was never my intention." Sarah squeezed her hand, feeling warmth radiate between them. "I know you love me, but sometimes love can come wrapped in worry. I just want to be me." Tears glimmered in her aunt's eyes, reflecting not just regret, but a dawning understanding. "I want to learn how to support you better. I want to celebrate you, not limit you." For the first time, Sarah felt a shift. Was this the change she longed for? This conversation could open up a world where limitations fell, and acceptance thrived. "I want you to be part of this movement," Sarah said, her voice steady. "It's not just about me. It's about everyone who has felt voiceless." Her aunt's gaze lit up with a flicker of realization. "You're right. Let us make this a community effort.
Together, we could really spark change.
Sarah's heart raced again, but it felt different now.
Instead of doubt, it was hope.
They stood there for a moment, eyes locked, the unspoken promise hanging in the air.
"I do like that," Sarah replied softly, sincere.
The possibility of a shared journey felt intoxicating, but as the conversation flowed into something deeper, Sarah felt the weight of her other relationships pressing in.
Was she ready to share this new power across the wider family? How would they react?
Would they embrace her, or would doubt and fear linger in their hearts, too? Suddenly, the music shifted to a romantic tune, and couples began to twirl and sway. Sarah glanced back at the dance floor, where she could see Josh, laughing and inviting others to join. The sight filled her with warmth.
"Do you want to dance?"
Sarah asked, glancing back at her aunt. A hesitant smile broke through her aunt's earlier worry.
"With you?"
"Of course." As they made their way toward the floor, a flutter of excitement ignited in Sarah. The moment was slipping into something beautiful, but she also felt the tension of what still lay ahead. The joy of the celebration was palpable, yet glimmers of uncertainty lingered at the edges.
Would she really have the courage to confront all her family members and share this newfound perspective?
Together, they finally stepped onto the dance floor, two women ready to challenge their fears.
But within Sarah's heart, questions simmered. Would this breakthrough break open more doors, or would she find herself at another crossroads?
And as she began to twirl beneath the stars, the rhythm of the music resonating with her spirit, the answer to her question felt tantalizingly out of reach. As the first notes of the song embraced them, Sarah and her aunt moved into the rhythm.
With each sway, a blend of nervous energy and elation swept through Sarah. Her aunt laughed, her face lighting up in a way Sarah hadn't seen in years, and for that moment, everything felt possible. The world around them faded. Other couples danced, twinkling lights shimmered across the floor, and laughter floated on the air, yet it felt as if only they existed. The moment began to shift, turning from simple enjoyment to something deeper. "I've missed this connection," her aunt said, her voice warm and wavering. "I've missed you."
Tears pricked at the corners of Sarah's eyes, and she clutched her aunt's hands tighter. "We can find our way back," she replied, her voice firm with newfound determination.
"We can build something stronger, but it needs to start here."
Her aunt nodded slowly, digesting Sarah's words.
"You're right. This is just the beginning. You know everyone at the wedding will see you differently after today, right? They'll look at you and see your strength."
Sarah turned, scanning the vibrant crowd. She saw the familiar faces of her family, their expressions mingled with surprise and warmth as they noticed her on the dance floor with her aunt, a picture of empowerment and joy. It was as if a light was flipping on, illuminating the dark corners of doubt where she had kept her fears.
"But do you think they'll truly understand?"
she asked, voice trembling slightly.
"What if they don't want to? What if they push back?"
Her aunt hesitated, glancing over at a group gathered near the punch bowl, whispering and laughing.
"If they truly love you, they will try. Change is never easy, Sarah. But your words today showed them a side of you they've been blind to." Encouraged, but still unsure, Sarah took a deep breath.
"I want to share this journey with them, but I need them to see me, really see me.
Not just the girl in the wheelchair but the woman I am."
As the song shifted to a slower tempo, Sarah's heart steadied. She felt her aunt's hand squeeze hers tightly. "Then we will show them, together," she said, with a renewed sense of purpose. Sarah pulled back to look her aunt in the eyes. "Let us start our own movement, one family gathering at a time." In that moment, they made a pact of sorts, an unspoken promise to not only embrace change but to lead it. The music surrounding them felt fuller, more alive, as hope swelled between them like a beacon of light, cutting through the shadow of doubt. But then, from the corner of her eye, Sarah caught a glimpse of Josh stepping forward, his expression shifting from joy to something serious as he approached. "Sarah," he called, the name leaving his lips with a weight that sent a shiver down her spine. Her heart raced. What could he want? Had he overheard something? Anxiety danced alongside her excitement. Would he be the ally she needed, or represent another barrier to her dreams? As Josh drew near, it felt like the moment hung in the air, pregnant with potential. Sarah could almost hear her heart pounding above the music.
What awaited her in this unexpected encounter? Josh stood in front of her, his brow furrowed with uncertainty. "Can we talk?" he asked, his voice softer than she expected. Sarah's heart drummed in her chest. This was at the moment where everything could change. She glanced at her aunt, who nodded encouragingly before slipping away to give them space. "Yeah, of course," Sarah replied, trying to sound casual even as butterflies danced in her stomach. She turned her wheelchair slightly to face him. "What's up?" He ran a hand through his hair, a nervous habit she recognized. "I've watched you tonight, it's incredible. You look so confident." Flattery made her cheeks flush, but she quickly masked it with a smile. "Thanks, I'm just trying to be me." "I can see that," Josh said, stepping a little closer. "But I need to be honest. I wasn't sure how to approach you after everything." Her stomach tightened. The weight of the past hung heavily in the air between them like an unspoken truth. "You mean after I left?" He nodded, his eyebrows drawing together. "Yeah. I know I didn't handle things well. I wanted to apologize truly. I thought about reaching out, but I didn't know if you'd even want to talk to me again." Sarah bit her lip, feeling the pull of old wounds. "It was hard, Josh. You disappeared when I needed you." "I know," he said, his voice breaking just slightly. "But seeing you here tonight, it's like you've transformed. I didn't realize how much I missed you until now." She could see the sincerity in his eyes, the regret. It tugged at her heart. "Change takes time, Josh. It wasn't just about you and me, it was about me finding my voice." His gaze dropped to the floor, guilt painting his features. "I see that now. I didn't recognize the strength you had. But I want to learn. I want to know how you did this. Can you trust me again?" Her mind raced. Trust hadn't come easily for her, especially after feeling abandoned. Yet here he was, standing before her, open and raw. It was complicated, this tug-of-war between anger and longing for connection. "Josh, I want to share this journey with you, but I need to know you're genuine." "No more running away," she said firmly. "If we're going to navigate this together, it has to be different." "I promise," he replied, earnestness shining in his eyes. "I want to support you. I want to hear your story, the real one." Hope ignited within her, yet doubt lingered. Was she ready to open up? "Okay," Sarah said slowly, testing the waters. "But starting with one step at a time. We can go for coffee, talk about everything, the past, the present. I need to feel that you mean it." "Absolutely," he replied, relief washing over his face. "Whenever you're ready." As they locked eyes, she felt a wave of emotion rise up, fear but also an unexpected thrill at the possibility of rebuilding something they had lost. "Let us try this, then. Maybe we can surprise ourselves." Just as Josh opened his mouth to respond, a loud cheer erupted from the crowd. Sarah turned to see her family gathered, laughing and dancing. A spark of joy ignited in her heart. "That looks like a perfect moment for you to join them," Josh suggested. "Not yet," she said, turning her focus back to him. "There's still something we need to figure out." As Josh nodded, Sarah realized this moment was a turning point. Could it lead to redemption, not just for him, but for her too? Then, as if the universe had been listening, her aunt returned with a grin, her eyes sparkling. She held a small envelope in her hand. "Sarah, you won't believe who just asked for you." A flicker of tension filled the air as Sarah's pulse quickened once more. Who could it be? Her heart raced again, this time with curiosity and apprehension. What awaited her next? The envelope crinkled in her aunt's hand, its secrets pulsing in the air between laughter and music. Sarah's breath caught for a moment, anticipation mingling with doubt. The crowd around them turned into a colorful blur as she focused on her aunt's expression, eager, almost conspiratorial. "Who asked for me?" Sarah pressed, her voice barely audible over the joyful melodies drifting from the party. She found herself leaning forward, desperate for a connection that could change everything. "Someone you know very well," her aunt teased,
raising an eyebrow and slowly pulling the flap open. Someone you haven't seen in a long time. Her heart raced at the possibilities. Names tumbled in her mind, friends from her past, colleagues she'd left behind. Each possibility seemed more thrilling than the last, yet a small voice in her head questioned what this person sought from her. Just then, her aunt pulled out a card, the elegant script barely visible in the flickering light. The invite says, "Dear Sarah, I'm celebrating a new beginning, and I'd love for you to be a part of it. Meet me at the cafe tomorrow morning at 10. Can't wait to catch up. Love, Mia." At the sound of her old friend's name, a kaleidoscope of emotions washed over Sarah. Mia. They had been inseparable once, sharing dreams and secrets. But when Sarah had stepped away, Mia had moved on, and their connection had faded into silence. What does she want? Sarah asked, her excitement now shadowed by trepidation. Would she even recognize the person who stood before her now? The Sarah from years ago felt like a different person entirely. "I think it's time your paths crossed again," her aunt offered gently. "You've changed, Sarah." Maybe she wants to hear about your journey, or maybe she just misses her best friend. Or maybe she is just being polite, Sarah murmured, her voice suddenly heavy with doubt. Only one way to find out, her aunt countered, her tone encouraging. And remember, you're not that old, Sarah, you're stronger now. You deserve to embrace every connection that comes your way. Josh stood a few steps away, silently observing. The way he looked at her now seemed different, admiring, curious, and a little uncertain. It was as if he was trying to understand her in a way he hadn't before. "Maybe you should go," he said finally, his voice cutting through the crowd's noise. "If it feels right. It's another step forward for you." "Yeah," Sarah said, her mind racing. What if Mia saw her differently now? What if they didn't connect the same way they used to? The anxiety clawed at her, but within that anxiety was a flicker of hope. She had worked hard to step into herself again, to be the architect of her own story. Besides, Josh added, grinning now, what's the worst that could happen? You have a coffee and catch up. If it's awkward, well, then you just chalk it up to another life lesson. His playful tone broke through her tension, and a small smile crept onto her face. You're right, Josh. Taking a deep breath, she felt the weight of the night lift, if only a little. Tomorrow will be different. Whatever happens, it's just another step forward. As her heart swelled with determination, Sarah felt like she was standing on the precipice of something important. Perhaps it wasn't just about rebuilding old connections. It was about discovering new parts of herself in the process. Just then, the distant sound of laughter grew louder, and her family called her name again, inviting her back into their fold. But Sarah remained rooted. She felt the new leaf turning, the anticipation of the next day lurking. Guess it's time to join them. But tomorrow, I'll face Mia and see what she really wants, Sarah said, looking back at Josh. I'll be here rooting for you, he replied, his eyes bright with support. Elated, she wheeled herself closer to the dance floor, but the thought of tomorrow lingered in her mind. Who was Mia now? What could she possibly reveal? As she blended into the joyous chaos around her, Sarah felt a question simmering beneath the surface, a whisper nudging her forward. What would happen if she allowed herself to truly reconnect? The morning sun kissed the cafe's window, casting a warm glow across the tables. Sarah rolled up to the entrance, her heart pounding as she glanced at her reflection in the glass. Was this really her? The vibrant red dress hugged her frame, and the empowering confidence she'd been nurturing felt delicate today, like a flower barely blooming. Taking a deep breath, she pushed the door open and entered. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee wrapped around her like a comforting blanket, but the nerves persisted. Scanning the room, she spotted Mia at a corner table. Even from a distance, she recognized that unmistakable beaming smile that once lit up her dark days. Mia's hair had changed, and she wore a pair of cute glasses that seemed to highlight her earnestness. But Sarah could practically feel the pull of their old friendship, no matter how many years had passed. Hey there! Mia called, waving like no time at all had passed between them. Hey! Sarah managed as she wheeled herself to the table. The seconds felt like hours. It was as if she were navigating a chasm, wondering whether they'd reach the other side. Mia stood, leaning down to give Sarah an embrace that felt surprisingly familiar. The moment suspended in the air, the connection instant. It sparked a flicker of joy inside Sarah, soothing her nerves just a bit. "Look at you!" Mia exclaimed as she pulled back, eyes sparkling. "You look amazing. How are you?" The words swept through Sarah like a warm breeze. "I've been good. Busy with work, but I can't complain. What about you? I mean, what was this about? A new beginning?"
Mia flushed slightly, dropping her gaze for just a moment.
"Well, I guess that's why I wanted to see you." There was a shimmer of uncertainty. "I'm getting married, Sarah." Sarah's heart skipped a beat. "Wow, Mia. That's incredible. Oh, wait, who's the lucky person?" Mia's face lit up at the question.
"His name is Daniel. You haven't met him before, but he is wonderful.
He makes me feel brave and alive."
As they spoke, the conversation flowed like a stream. Stories of the past weaved in with tales of newfound adventures. Each laugh pulled Sarah away from her insecurities, illuminating shared memories that seemed to hover, waiting for revival.
But as excitement bubbled, Sarah felt something lingering beneath it. "I'm so happy for you, but it still feels a little surreal, doesn't it?"
she ventured, her voice softening.
Mia nodded, her expression thoughtful. "I know what you mean.
When Daniel proposed, it felt like everything I wanted was finally materializing.
But it also made me think about everything I've left behind and about us." "Us?" Sarah echoed, a hint of uncertainty creeping in again. "Yes."
Mia leaned in closer. "You were such a huge part of my life, and when you stepped away I didn't know how to bridge that gap."
"I think of you more than I let on." "Same here," Sarah admitted, feeling the weight of vulnerability.
"I struggled with stepping away and doubting myself.
I never thought I'd get a chance to mend things."
A silence fell between them, thick with unspoken feels. It was as though they were standing on the edge of a cliff together, ready to leap into rediscovery, but unsure how deep the waters would be.
"Sarah," Mia said, breaking the stillness. "I'm not just inviting you for coffee. I want you in my life again, if you'll let me. Can we be friends again? Can we start fresh?"
Tears threatened to spill over.
The sincerity in Mia's voice touched Sarah like sun-dappled light.
Maybe this was indeed a new beginning, but for both of them.
"I do like that, Mia."
"A lot," Sarah replied, her heart swelling with emotion.
Just then, their laughter echoed through the cafe, flowing effortlessly, and in that moment, Sarah realized that they were both capable of growth, of moving forward together. But as the embrace of friendship rekindled, Sarah's mind flickered to another question: what else might this new beginning hold for both of them? What might they discover as they navigate this new chapter together? As their laughter began to settle, Sarah glanced around the cafe, absorbing the familiar ambience.
The clatter of cups and the sounds of light banter filled the space with an energy that felt almost like home.
She felt alive, yet somehow, an undercurrent of anxiety crept back into her mind. What would it be like to be part of Mia's life again after everything that had happened? "Sarah," Mia said, snapping her out of her thoughts. "I really want you at the wedding. I know it's a lot to ask, but it wouldn't feel complete without you." The thought struck Sarah like a jolt. A wedding? As in, formal and all that?
Her stomach flipped slightly, anxiety wrapping around her heart like a vine.
"Yeah. We've sent out invitations, and I really want you to be there."
"It's going to be a small ceremony, just close friends and family, but you're basically family to me," Mia said earnestly.
"Wow. I don't know if I'm ready for all that. What if I can't handle it?"
Sarah's voice trembled as she weighed the invitation with trepidation. Mia reached out and touched Sarah's hand, grounding her.
"You can handle it. We will handle it. We're in this together again, remember? Just like old times." Old times. The phrase echoed in Sarah's mind, a bittersweet reminder of simpler days colored with laughter and dreams before everything shifted. She felt a tug of hope fighting her insecurities, but doubt still loomed like a shadow. "I'm scared, Mia."
It's been so long, and I've changed. I'm not who I used to be, Sarah confessed, a lump forming in her throat.
Of course you've changed, Mia replied gently.
We both have. Change doesn't mean we can't keep moving forward. Think about it this way, a wedding is all about new beginnings, isn't it? You stepping back into my life could be your new beginning too.
Sarah considered that as she looked down at her hands, gripping the wheels of her chair tightly.
What that meant felt heavy yet exhilarating.
She thought about the last few years spent wrestling with her alone time, redefining her identity amidst her struggles.
What if I'm not ready? She whispered, vulnerability spilling into the air between them. Then we take it one step at a time. You can come early and help me with the setups. We can just be together without the pressure of the spotlight. I promise you, it'll be fun.
Sarah couldn't help but smile at Mia's enthusiasm, the genuine sincerity shining through. In the depths of her heart, she felt a flicker of courage.
You really want me there? Like, actually? Sarah asked, her voice steadying just a bit. Absolutely.
Friends are supposed to be there for each other just like we always were. Before everything, Mia replied, locking eyes with Sarah and radiating sincerity, feeling a swell of shared history wash over them. Sarah nodded slowly.
Okay, I'll do it. I'll come to the wedding. Mia's face lit up like a sunrise. Really? You don't know how much that means to me.
As they continued discussing the wedding, ideas floated in the air. Sarah felt a sense of excitement pulse through her. The thought of being entwined with Mia's life again, whether through laughter or the chaos of planning, began to overpower her fears, but amidst their conversation, Sarah's mind couldn't stop buzzing about how this rekindled friendship could bring unexpected challenges. What if things didn't go smoothly? What if she found herself overwhelmed in the crowd, unable to connect? Later that evening, when she finally returned home, she stared out of her window, apprehensive yet hopeful. Maybe this was the universe pushing her towards something she desperately needed: a chance to rebuild, to embrace vulnerability, and perhaps to rediscover her own strength in the process. With every thought, however, another question flickered in her mind: what truly awaited her when the wedding day arrived? What surprises lay in the path of this friendship she was reviving? The air felt charged with possibility, and Sarah knew one thing for sure: she was ready to find out. The day of the wedding dawned clear and bright. Sarah stared in the mirror, tracing her fingers over the vibrant fabric of her dress. Confidence surged within her, but nerves danced just beneath the surface. She had decided to embrace this new beginning not just for Mia, but for herself. She felt ready to face whatever moments awaited her today. Once she arrived at the venue, the air buzzed with laughter and chatter. Beautiful flowers adorned every corner, and the joyful atmosphere wrapped around her like a warm embrace. Yet as she wheeled through the beautiful garden, Sarah's heart raced. What if she wasn't enough? What if she didn't fit into this new chapter of Mia's life? Mia was everywhere. Greeting guests, adjusting decorations, and sparkling with joy. When their eyes finally met, a wide smile lit up Mia's face that felt like sunshine. You made it. She beamed, rushing over to wrap Sarah in a tight hug. It was like all her worries melted away. You look stunning. Thanks, you do too, Sarah replied, breathless with emotion. She wanted to be present, to enjoy this moment, but the weight of the past gnawed at her thoughts. As preparations continued, Sarah helped where she could. Small tasks snowballed into shared laughter, revived friendship, and the kind of joy that felt infectious. It was a beautiful whirlwind, and for a moment, she forgot her insecurities. As guests began to arrive, Sarah felt the surge of old feelings creep back in. Faces from her past buzzed around her. Some she recognized, others felt like strangers. Anxiety bubbled within her like a muted alarm. Sarah! Come here! Mia's voice trembled with excitement, breaking through her thoughts. She wheeled forward to find Mia standing with her fiancé, Daniel, radiating warmth. Daniel, this is Sarah, my best friend, Mia introduced. He offered a charming smile and a polite handshake. Pleasure to meet you, Sarah, he said. In his eyes, Sarah felt acceptance. A flicker of hope ignited a chance for new beginnings. Then, with the wedding nearing, time paused. The music softened, and everyone gathered round. Guests whispered, smiles spread, and excitement hung thick in the air. As Mia and Daniel shared vows, Sarah absorbed the energy, feeling something shift deep inside her. Tears glistened in her eyes as Mia pledged to embrace joy and face challenges hand in hand with Daniel. It was not just a moment, it was a promise of love that felt expansive and bright. And at that moment, Sarah realized this was the kind of support she wanted in her own life, unconditional, encouraging, and unwavering. As the newlyweds sealed their vows with a kiss, applause erupted like a symphony, and in that instant, she felt a part of something bigger than herself. Her joy bubbled over, and she joined the chorus of cheers, her heart swelling with gratitude. When the ceremony wrapped up, the evening transformed into a lively reception. The music flowed, laughter filled the space, and Sarah took a deep breath, stepping into a more profound sense of acceptance. She had come too far to retreat now. She rolled herself to the dance floor, the lights twinkling like stars above her. People began to dance, couples moved together, and friends laughed. Sarah realized that transforming this moment for herself required stepping out of the shadows of doubt. This was her chance to celebrate not just Mia's new beginning, but her own rebirth. "Come on, Sarah!" someone shouted from the crowd, drawing her into the lively energy. With newfound courage, she wheeled herself into the center, the vibrant music calling to her heart. Slowly, she began to sway, and soon laughter erupted around her. People began clapping, their cheers ringing like a warm affirmation. Sarah caught sight of her aunt from across the floor, her face radiating pride. Their earlier conversation lingered in the air, an unspoken promise binding them together. With each move, Sarah let herself truly embrace this freedom, this connection. Josh appeared beside her, a bright grin plastered on his face. "Look at you! Owning the floor!" he encouraged, and without hesitation, they began to dance together, the rhythm carrying them both into a realm of pure joy. As the night wore on, Sarah felt lighter, freer. She surveyed the room, her eyes connecting with familiar faces now filled with warmth rather than judgment. For the first time in a long while, she felt genuinely seen, not just the CEO in a wheelchair, but Sarah complete in her entirety. When the music softened, and couples began to gather around tables for speeches and toasts, Sarah felt a tug to share her journey. The nervousness ebbed, replaced by a deep understanding of her newfound voice. In that moment, she realized that vulnerability was powerful. She wouldn't just be a part of Mia's journey, she would continue to carve her own path, building connections that spanned beyond just one day. When it was her turn to speak, Sarah took a deep breath, her heart racing in anticipation. "Hey everyone," she began, her voice shaking just slightly. "Tonight is a celebration, not just for Mia and Daniel, but for all of us who have found courage in love and friendship. I've been on a long journey, and being here tonight makes me realize I'm finally learning to embrace the beautiful chaos of life." Every word she spoke was truth. With each addition, her confidence grew. There was no pulling back, no retreating into old shadows. She delivered a heartfelt message about overcoming challenges, the beauty of community, and the strength that comes from reconnecting and rediscovering who you truly are. And as the room erupted into applause, she felt a powerful sense of transformation encircle her. This was the moment she had hoped for, a catalyst for change, not just in her life but all around her. As the evening wore on, laughter mingled seamlessly with conversations about hopeful futures and renewed friendships. Sarah looked around the room. Joy filled the space as she caught Mia's eye, both women smiling, hearts swelling with the unity that had reignited between them. With a heart full of gratitude, Sarah finally understood that every step she took from here would hold meaning. Love, community, and a powerful legacy of strength surged within her. She had not just attended a wedding, she had embraced a new beginning. Today was just the beginning of the transformation that awaited her, and she was ready to light the way for others, as well. And in that blend of celebration and reflection, she whispered to herself, "This is just the beginning. Now, it's your turn to take a step forward." Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, every click counts. Comment below to share your reactions and feelings about this inspiring ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting this channel through these actions.